and I'll be painless, yeah. All I'm drinking is champagne. All you want is the same thing. Yeah.
I can't even right now. Not even Drake can cheer me up. Week 2 recap. I gotta be honest with you all. This is a really tough recap to do after the weekend that I had regarding my team. But I'm here. I'm gonna do this. We're gonna do this. First of all, let's give a shout out to Loy. Not only is he 2-0, but he's also the weekly high scorer yet again. Oh well, no, not yet again, but he's the weekly high scorer for week 2. So shout outs to Loy. Now, this is exactly what I've been talking about with this whole knockout pool, right? So when you look at it this week, Kevin Horton was a weekly low score, right? However, he was a weekly low score for week 1, so he's already out of the knockout pool, right? So it goes to the next person who was the lowest scoring team, and that's actually Ant. Ant is the lowest scorer, so he's now knocked out of the survivor pool. He had 124.82. Carrie him were really close. She finished with 125.72, but Ant is now knocked out of the survivor pool. So Kevin's out, Ant's out of the survivor pool. Now there's only 10 of us left in the survivor pool. So shout out to everyone else who is still in the running for it. Where do I start here? Let's start with Lloyd's team. He had the weekly high scores. Only right that we start with him. We typically do that anyway. Plus that, and I want to stay the fuck away from my team because it's just a goddamn embarrassment. Because I was in... No, I'm actually knocked out of the survivor pool now. What the fuck? I messed up. I'm knocked out and still in. I'm knocked out at 121.72. Shit, in real time. Not only did I lose fucking Ian by... Oh, God. Not only did I lose Ian by less than 3, but now I'm knocked out of survivor pool with my 121. What the fuck? Yep, that's it. I'm knocked out. So me and Kevin Hart are both knocked out of the survivor pool. Jumping onto Lloyd's team, he wins 179.34. He beats Greg at 146.82. Jumping to Greg's team really quickly. Teddy Bridgewater beat me in another league, by the way, and also in this league. Seemed to have had a really great performance. So Teddy Bridgewater 25.22. Chubbs gave him a solid 16.8. T. Higgins gave him 16. That's solid. T.J. Hawkinson gave him a 20.6 on Monday Night Football. Mike Williams gave him a 22.1. Yo, dare I say Mike Williams is actually a thing? That's insane, but it looks like he is. So, then looking at the bench, I started Kenny Galladay. Cheeks is smart. He didn't start Kenny Galladay, nor did he have to. So Kenny Galladay was on his bench and did absolutely nothing. Devontae Smith had a great week 1, but 3.16 on the bench. Really nothing on Cheeks' bench. He made all the right starts. And even his defense gave him 12, which I think is always solid. But unfortunately, he takes the loss. Going over to Lloyd's team, Lloyd had Tom Brady, 39.64. Derrick Henry, man, gave him 47.7. That's really all he needed, honestly. He had Mike Davis give him 13.3. Keenan Allen gave him 14.8. Boyd gave him 14.3. The Bucks defense gave him 18. Those 2 interceptions at the end, those 2 pick sixes at the end really saved his day from a defensive perspective. And then he has Matthew Stafford on the bench with 21.2. AJ Green actually gave him 13.4, but really nothing else to write home about on his bench. So great win for Lloyd. Let me go to my shitty ass team because I want to get the hell out of the way. I lost 121.72 to 125.82. Looking at my team, it comes down to Corey Davis gave me 2.8. My tight end gave me 1. My kicker gave me 5. And that's really summed up my loss. Looking at my bench, I had Zach Pascal with 14.8 and Mooney with 12.6. But outside of that, and I wouldn't have played either one of them outside of Corey Davis after the week 1 that he had. But shit, maybe I should have. Fucking Jets. Even though I'm wearing the Jets paraphernalia now, I'm about to go for my run. So I should probably burn it. Anyway, so moving over to Ian's team, salute him. He beat me with Tua giving him only 0.52. Clyde Edwards-Helaire gave him 2.6. But he had Cooper Kupp give him 36.8. He had Tyler Lockett give him 31.8. those were really it for him. Like those guys really, and Singletary gave him 17.1. Looking at his bench, he didn't really have much. He does have Rondell Moore from the Cardinals, gave him 24.4, but wouldn't have played him. He does have Odell on his IR. But outside of that, made all the right starts. And again, just really, my team's so shitty. Two teams beat me, essentially, which is Cooper Kupp and Tyler Lockett. So shout out to Ian, always a good competitor, always one of the top teams in this league. So shout out to him on that. Aricio against Keith. Aricio wins 152.5. Keith loses 134.36. Keith goes to 0-2. Aricio goes to 1-1. Looking at Keith's team, he had Josh Allen giving 20.6. DJ Moore gave him 21.9. Mike Evans gave him 24.5. Rob Gronkowski gave him 19.9. Damn it, man. Like, I didn't believe in the Gronk train, but clearly I didn't know what I didn't know. And then he had nothing really else on his bench. No fan gave him 13.3, and that's really it. Then you move over to Aricio. He had Aaron Rodgers give him a solid 25.2, 34.8. Christian McCaffrey gave him 24.7. Brandon Cooks gave him 22.8. Deontay Johnson gave him 19.5, even though he went out of that game hurt. His game gave him 13. Made all the right starts, nothing on his bench. Everyone was in single digits on his bench. So shout out to Aricio, again, another vet here. Moving over to Phil, 158 against Kevin Horton. 112.58. Kevin Horton just continues, just like I don't even know. I mean, what's interesting is Dak only gave him 7.48 for Kevin Horton, which is interesting because I mean that game was a interesting game, not a scoring game, and obviously I'm a Cowboy fan, so I watched the game, but didn't think Dak played so terribly from a fantasy perspective, only to have 7.48, but he didn't throw a touchdown, so that's that. Then he had, let's go, Devontae Adams did give him 20.1. Calvin Ridley gave him 19.3. Mark Andrews gave him 10.7. Damian Harris gave him 13.4. David Montgomery gave him 10.9. Juju Smith-Schuster gave him 16.4, which is solid for Juju. His defense gave him 0 against the Giants. Elijah Mitchell, who was the big pickup last week, only gave him 7.3. On his bench, he did have Jalen Waddle. He had Kenyon Drake at 10.5, but that was really it. And Waddle only gave him 8.8, so he made all the right starts on his team. Just unfortunately, his team just not clicking right now, unfortunately. Going over to Philly Phil from Really Real. Phil had Jalen Hurts, man, who I didn't believe in. I'll be very honest with you guys, but 21.8. He actually hit his projection, which is crazy. That rarely happens. ESPN's always wrong on projections. Austin Eckler gave him 22.5. Travis Kelce gave him 23.9. The Bills' defense gave him 24. Wow. That's impressive. He does have James White on his bench at 18.5. He did have St. Patrick's on his bench also at 12.7. So shout out to Phil on the win. Moving over to, you have Jose, who's now 2-0, 151 against Kerry, who 125.72. The thing that sucks about this league is I thought I had a good team, but clearly I did. But anyway, off my team. Going to Kerry. Kerry's team, she had Patrick Mahomes give it 30 let's look at who didn't do good for her. Miles Sanders gave it 6.9. Chase Claypool gave it 9.7. Cole Beasley, unvaccinated Cole Beasley, gave her 7.6. Antonio Brown gave it 2.7. And this is the one that Carrie talked about a lot in the chat, that she had to make a decision between Antonio Brown and Marquise Brown, and she went Antonio Brown. Sister, you did the right thing. Even though it didn't play out that way, after the week Antonio Brown had, I would have played him over Marquise Brown, and that would have been a close call for me. But she does have Ruggs and Marquise Brown on her bench, who both went over 20 points. Moving over to Jose. Jose was he beat her really with 3 players, honestly. So Kyle Murray gave her 39. Aaron Jones gave him 41.5. CeeDee Lamb gave him 17.4. That was really it. That's all he really needed. Those were the guys who went off for him. Nothing on his bench except for Tony Pollard. He does have Tony Pollard, who gave him a solid 23 points on his bench. So shout out to Jose, who goes to 2-0. And then this one, no wonder Kit's feeling so good about himself. 152.26 against Ant, 124.82. And again, my apologies. You are not the person knocked out of the survivor pool. My shitty ass team is. Looking at Kit. No, I'm sorry. Go to Ant first. Ant had Alvin Kamara give him only 7. Dalton Schultz, Dalton Schultz, I'm sorry, gave him 3.8. Laviska Shenault only gave him 1.7. Pat's defense did give him 19. And that's really it on his Ant's team. He does have Zach Moss, who did have a solid 15.4. Michael Pittman gave him 20.3. Tyson Williams gave him 11.3. So Ant has some pieces on his bench. It's just a matter of when he plays them versus his starters. Going over to Kit's team, Lamar Jackson gave him a solid 34.26. Zeke gave him 17.7. Chase Edmonds gave him 12.5. Terry McLaurin on that Thursday night game gave him 27.7. Julio gave him 18. And then he does have Sterling Shepard on his bench, which it looks like he had him since draft. Gave him 17.5. So huge win for Kit to go to 1-1. So I'm so happy because this is the last time I will be talking about this week, and now I'm moving on to week 3. So in week 3, I will be playing Ant. We're both 1-1. Ant to go lost last week, and then you have Lloyd 2-0 go against Keith, who's 0-2. Keith needs to win really desperately. Then you have Kevin Harton, who's 0-2. Wow, both Kevin's Kevin and Keith are Kevin Harton is 0-2. He plays against Greg, who's 1-1. Kevin Harton in really good need of a win. You have Kerry, who's 0-2, going against Aricio, who's 1-1. Kerry in desperate need of a win. Interesting enough, all 3 cousins are 0-2 and both needing a win, so it'll be interesting to see which one from that family gets a win first. Then you have Kit going against Phil, both 1-1. And then you have, this is going to be a sizzling matchup early on. You have Jose, who is 2-0, going against Ian, who's 2-0. So interesting matchup. Can't wait to see what happens. Can't wait to put this week behind me. I'm now knocked out of the pool, so won't be as fun for me going forward. But for the rest of you 10 teams who are in there, keep it going. I'm going to listen to Drake and drink some tea, some detox tea as I get ready for my run and vibe out.
The 10,000 building, get your ass an apartment, put you inside a G-class, that's just a starter kit. Plenty this kind of life, but none of them is the thought of it. New piece around my neck is chess games, cause shorty stay with calculated moves like Beth Harmon. Swear I'm more Purple Rain Prince than Prince Charming. Disappointment I stay expecting it, the pessimist gold medalist. Flush the magnums just so they not collecting my specimens, damn. The way she with Poppy, man, you would think she's a veteran on remembrance. Cleaning lady, sweep the room daily for all the evidence. Everything I